So I'll get this out of the way right now. I will not be spoiling major plot points. However, I will be spoiling what happens in the first episode since it kicks off the show, and we'll be talking about the existence of certain characters and elements and showing clips. So I'll toss a spoiler warning on screen just to be safe. There are minor spoilers ahead, so watch at your own discretion. And so hello, my name is Matt, and welcome to my hidden nerdy side, and today we'll be making Demon Slayer a D&D campaign, and more importantly, talking about how to make it your own. Now, the premise of Demon Slayer is it's about a boy named Tanjiro whose entire family was killed by demons. Nezuko, one of his sisters, managed to survive, however, she was unfortunately turned into a demon. And so Tanjiro sets out to join the Demon Slayer Corps so he can find a higher ranking demon and figure out a way to turn his sister back. Now, if you saw my video about making Arcane a D&D campaign, you'll know one of my guiding philosophies in designing a campaign is figuring out what the theme of my campaign is going to be, or what the core idea of our setting, factions, and characters is built around. And the overarching theme that is omnipresent in Demon Slayer is the power of bonds and how those bonds manifest. I mean, the entire show is about Tanjiro trying to save his sister, and we see multiple flashbacks between him and his family. We see him and Nezuko power up at similar times, and 3 out of the 4 major villains in the series so far have also had strong family ties that shape who they are, with the other one sharing a different type of bond, which was the bond between warriors. So when asking your players to craft their characters, emphasizing the importance of their bonds, having their bonds be the driving force for their character development, and having those bonds be linked to demons in some way will be a great starting off point. And also crafting various bonds for your NPCs they can be driven by will be a fantastic way to stay true to your core idea while creating conflict with your players at the same time when your enemy NPC bonds are in opposition to your players. Now, let's talk about what your players are going to be fighting. What's great about this particular episode of making things a D&D campaign is what they're fighting is in the title, and there are tons of demons to choose from in D&D 5e, but the demons in Demon Slayer are a bit different than those in D&D in a few key ways. One is they can't exist in sunlight, so every demon is going to need a sunlight sensitivity mechanic that also kills them relatively quickly. We'll say for every round a demon is exposed to sunlight, they have disadvantage on attack rolls and take 25 points of radiant damage. In Demon Slayer, they die almost instantly, but this will give you a touch more counterplay. Also, this will mean most of your combat encounters will take place at night, so understanding dark vision and dim light mechanics would be beneficial. Another important detail is demons used to be human, but were turned into demons by being exposed to the blood of a very strong demon before death. Also, when a human becomes a demon, they have an unrivaled hunger and desire to feast on human flesh. So this mechanic has tons of incredible roleplay potential. Having a powerful demon turning people into demons to create spontaneous armies would be an insane plotline. But also imagine if a beloved NPC or backstory character was turned into a demon and forced to fight your party. I mean, what an emotional punch. Also, all demons in Demon Slayer have a form of regeneration. Now, how strong the regeneration is varies per demon, but we'll say the baseline for all demons will be 5 points per turn unless they take radiant or fire damage, are beheaded with a Nichirin weapon, or have wysteria poisoning. Now wait, what are those last two? Well, Nichirin swords are weapons made from scarlet ore, which is a special metal that has basked in the sunlight on a very tall mountain, appropriately named Sunlight Mountain. So a Nichirin sword would be the equivalent to a magical weapon. So swap out magical weapons with Nichirin weapons and you're good to go. Also, wysteria is a special plant that weakens demons and halts their regeneration. Now, since your entire campaign is going to be about fighting fiends, I would be extra careful with how powerful you make your wysteria, because if it's too good, your players will abuse the hell out of it. But I think having it halt their regeneration and cause them to make a DC 16 con save to resist the poison is a nice way to use it. Now, how can your players use wysteria? Well, the main way we see in the show, other than wysteria gardens acting as general deterrents for demons, is as a blade oil. So coating their weapons in it to halt the regeneration will be a good way to implement it. Just don't make wysteria oils, bombs, or whatever else too commonplace, since the lack of the resource will add extra strategy and fun as your players must just be careful with their wysteria use. And finally, the last thing we need to add is an anime backstory mechanic. Now, as a dungeon master, you should be revealing things about your characters as the story progresses through more subtle means. But in an anime-style D&D game, you know we're going to be adding a mechanic that's actually shown in the show, which is if you touch a demon within 1 minute after it dies, you can see its backstory. And hold on. Okay. This not only is a great way to flesh out your characters and create sympathy for them, but it could be a fantastic comedic tool if you give them wacky regrets, like never trying apple pie or some dumb crap like that. Now, the main baddie in the show is a demon called Muzan, who created the majority of demons and is their leader. So finding out who he is, why he does what he does, stopping him from turning more humans into demons, and defeating him once and for all will be the overarching plot in your campaign. We don't know much about his abilities yet, other than he's really fast and strong, can grant powers, and can shape change, so you're gonna have to get creative with homebrewing some abilities. But below him are the 12 Kizuki, who are separated into the 6 upper moons and the weaker 6 lower moons. If we said your typical demon would be CR 2 to 6, the lower moons would be 8 to 10, and the upper moons would be 12 to 15, with Muzan being even higher than that. In fact, it's said the upper moons haven't changed in hundreds of years and have killed hundreds of demon slayers and dozens of Hashira each, so they are really no joke. Like, I'd say the regeneration for a lower moon would be 20 HP and an upper moon would be 40, plus upper moons can regenerate limbs as a bonus action. Anyways, the point is, they are strong. Now, I'm going to give you a stat block for a standard upper moon and lower moon without their special abilities or further customizations, but the 12 Kizuki should have abilities that are unique to them. In the show, they call this a blood demon art, and this thematic ability is what all their other abilities will branch out from. So let's homebrew one to show you what I mean. Let's say one of our 12 Kizuki will be called Karaza, and his shtick will be all about lightning. Well, you could give him a bunch of lightning and thunder spells like Chain Lightning, Lightning Bolt, Thunder Wave, and so on, but also think about what's associated with lightning. Well, speed is often associated with it, so making Karaza super fast or giving him teleportation abilities where he blinks from player to player and leaves sparks in his wake is a nice touch as well. To take it a step further, you could give him an ability that allows Karaza to triple his speed when traveling through electrical currents. The world of Demon Slayer has electricity, so this can work, so you can have combat near telephone poles where Karaza can zip around. But even without electricity, you can still apply similar effects. For example, what if he or someone cast a lightning spell in his general vicinity? He could use his reaction to ride the electrical current to any point along the line or in the area. And finally, paralysis is also linked with electricity, so giving Karaza an ability that can paralyze your players and have lightning dance all over their body would be a nice touch. So basically, take a broad concept and milk it for everything it has, and you'll end up with a unique 12 Kizuki. However, if you really want to nail that anime style of combat, I highly recommend running combat in stages. Now, I have a full video on combat in stages, and the Aberrat example in the video would be the best reference for this. But in anime, intense boss fights are never simple. There is always another twist or reason why our protagonist didn't actually kill the boss, and new powers are shown and evolve over the course of a fight. So I'd highly recommend giving your homebrew 12 Kizuki mythic actions. You can read more about mythic actions in Fizban's and Theros, but essentially you have your standard stat block, and then once the creature dies, it regains nearly its entire hit point pool and then also gains a couple of extra abilities. This mechanic is perfect for an anime-style campaign, and hell, for the upper moons, I'd even tack on a third life and another round of wacky abilities. Just imagine the roleplay potential. They take down the baddie only for the demon to come back stronger. Then they take it down again only for your creature creature to pull out its last-ditch move? I mean, come on, what's more anime than that? Now, as for the good characters and factions, we're going to skip the main crew since your players will be filling the role of the main characters. But if you do want them in your games as NPCs, make a boy who is basically Jesus, a whiny simp who's cool when he's asleep, make a guy who's flexible and loves physical activity, and make a woman who can't talk and is a demon who is fairly good at not eating people, and boom, there you go. But what we will break down is the Demon Slayer core and the Hashira. So the Demon Slayer core is the governing body that deals with the killing of demons, and the Hashira are the strongest demon slayers. Now, having your players be members of the Demon Slayer core would be fantastic, because it now gives you an in-game way to continuously feed your players quests. How's that possible? Well, in the world of Demon Slayer, every member has a crow or bird of some kind that squawks quests directly at them. So this is just another element that beautifully translates to D&D. I mean, who needs a bounty or job board when you have a bird cawing plot hooks in your players' faces? But the Demon Slayer core can also lead to tons of terrific role-playing as your players interact with their fellow members and climb the ranks. And it's a great way for you to introduce more facts about your world, and the Hashira can be terrific teachers your players can learn from and fight alongside. However, I wouldn't have your players fight alongside them too much at first, since the Hashira will be much stronger. But I'd say a level 11 player could go toe-to-toe with a Hashira. But after a few quests are out of the way, your players could meet up with a Hashira now and then to take on more difficult quests, and homebrewing awesome, unique abilities in a similar way as we did with the 12 Kizuki will make each series of encounters feel special. For example, you could have a Hashira who has the power to charm creatures, leading to hilarious scenarios as demons move at her command. And even better, homebrewing abilities that give your players a specific buff will make the encounters even more memorable. For example, what if you had a Hashira who can control wind and who could speed up your players throughout the whole combat? The point is, from the quest giving, unique combat mechanics, world building, and awesome adversaries, the world of Demon Slayer would make for a fantastic D&D setting. So, how would you specifically make it your own creation? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, click the notification bell, follow all my social medias, and join our community Discord, where tons of members shared their awesome ideas every day. And hey, if you really liked it, try checking out my Patreon page as well, where you can support the channel directly while also receiving some awesome perks, such as free copies of my original encounters and extra homebrew goodness. Thanks for watching and indulging my hidden nerdy side.